Picture this. First date. The waiter clears the table, the background music is low, she finishes her sentence with a soft smile, and then comes the pause. 3 seconds. 4. 5. Your chest tightens. Your brain panics, say something, anything. And what slips out? A nervous joke, a clumsy resume speedrun. She smiles politely, but the energy drops. No fight, no big mistake, just silence handled the wrong way. And the attraction evaporates. Here's the truth most men never hear: silence is never neutral. It's always saying something. In relationships, silence screams. It either communicates confidence and presence or weakness and insecurity. And most of the time, what kills attraction isn't an argument, it's that awkward moment after she talks and you can't handle 3 seconds of quiet with yourself. There are 2 kinds of silence. The first is what I call the panic pause. Shallow breath, tight shoulders, darting eyes, filler words spilling out. That silence isn't calm, it's loud. She reads it instantly as nervousness, boredom, or lack of confidence. The second is what I call the presence pause. You breathe deep, relax your shoulders, hold steady eye contact, and let 2 or 3 seconds pass before responding. That silence communicates, without words, I'm here. I'm listening. I don't need to rush. If you try to escape silence by over-talking, you lose. If you can hold silence naturally, you win. Why? Because stability is magnetic. Everyone wants to be around the person who isn't shaken by stillness. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to turn awkward silence into powerful tension. I'll break down the simple moves, body language, breathing, and micro-listening habits that flip the script. You'll see why a 2-second pause can spark more connection than 10 clever lines, and how the smallest nod, at the right moment, makes her feel truly heard. But let me be clear, this isn't about manipulation. It's about relational skill. Silence can be a weapon, or it can be a safe space. Used to punish, it pushes her away. Used to listen, it pulls her closer. The choice is yours. Now go back to that dinner table. Imagine instead of panicking, you inhaled slowly, dropped your shoulders, held her gaze, and simply said, "Tell me more about that." What would have happened then? Stick around, because in Chapter 2 we'll break down the difference between natural silence and awkward silence, and I'll show you the visual cues that reveal which one you're in. And in Chapter 3, I'll teach you the 3-second rule, a micro-habit that changes your presence in every single conversation. Silence is an absence. Silence is signal. The question is, what signal are you sending? Not all silence is created equal. Some silences draw 2 people closer. Others push them apart. The difference is subtle, but once you learn to spot it, you'll never confuse the 2 again. Think about this. You're sitting on the couch with someone you truly connect with. The conversation slows, but instead of panic, you feel calm. You lean back, breathe easy, and it almost feels like the silence is its own language. That's natural silence. It communicates comfort, trust, and harmony. It's the kind of silence that says, I don't need to fill the space because I feel good just being here with you. Now picture the opposite. You're on a date, the words stop, and suddenly your brain goes into overdrive. You tap your foot, check your phone, blurt out random filler. She senses the tension, her eyes drift, and the atmosphere shifts. That's awkward silence. And the message it sends is brutal: nervousness, insecurity, or worse, lack of connection. Here's the key difference: natural silence feels shared, awkward silence feels empty. When silence is natural, both people are relaxed in their body language, shoulders loose, breathing steady, maybe even smiling softly. When silence is awkward, the tension shows up physically. She crosses her arms, you fidget with your drink, and both of you feel the weight of something missing. Most men never stop to analyze this difference. They just sense bad vibes and try to fix it by talking more. But talking more doesn't solve awkward silence, it highlights it. The fix isn't in the words. It's in your energy. So how do you recognize which silence you're in? Look for these signs. Eye contact. In natural silence, eye contact feels grounding. In awkward silence, eye contact feels unbearable. Body language. In natural silence, both bodies stay relaxed. In awkward silence, one or both stiffen or fidget. Breathing rhythm. In natural silence, breaths naturally sink. In awkward silence, it feels like someone's holding their breath. Here's the paradox: women don't judge you for silence itself. They judge you for how you carry it. A man who can sit calmly in silence communicates power, self-control, and presence. A man who panics communicates neediness, anxiety, and insecurity. Think of it like music. The pauses between notes are just as important as the melody. If the pause is intentional, it creates rhythm and beauty. If it's accidental, it feels like a mistake. Silence in relationships works the same way. So the next time you feel that pause, don't scramble for words. Instead, breathe, lean back, and let the moment stretch for 2 or 3 seconds. Then respond with calm curiosity. What made you think of that? That tiny shift transforms silence from awkward to magnetic. Quick check-in: have you ever been in a conversation where silence killed the vibe? Or the opposite, where silence made things feel even more intimate? Drop your story in the comments, because your experience might help another man recognize the difference. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into how women interpret silence and why the wrong kind of silence sends signals you never intended. Here's the part most men underestimate: silence isn't neutral. It always communicates something. And when that silence is awkward, the message she receives can be devastating for attraction. Think about it. When you freeze up and let that heavy, uncomfortable pause linger, she doesn't think, "Oh, he's just quiet." No, her mind starts racing. And in seconds, that silence gets translated into weakness, insecurity, or even lack of interest. Let's break it down. First, weakness. If your silence feels like you don't know what to say, she interprets it as emotional fragility. Women are wired to look for strength, leadership, and certainty. When you shrink into silence, she senses hesitation. She doesn't see a grounded man, she sees someone who's unsure of himself and therefore unsure of her. Second, insecurity. Awkward silence often comes with body language, fidgeting, avoiding eye contact, shifting in your seat. These microsignals scream self-doubt. And here's the problem: attraction dies in insecurity. She doesn't just hear the silence, she feels the energy behind it, and that energy tells her, this man is not confident in himself. Third, lack of interest. This is the most dangerous interpretation. If she feels you're not leading the conversation, not driving the connection forward, she assumes you're bored or checked out. Even if you're deeply attracted, your silence can make her think, he's not really into me. That thought alone can make her emotionally disengage. The psychology behind this is brutal but simple. Women look for signals. Every pause, every gesture, every silence gets decoded as information about who you are. And when this silence feels heavy or anxious, it doesn't just communicate quiet. It communicates something is wrong. Here's what most men don't realize: awkward silence doesn't stay small. It snowballs. She feels the tension, you sense her discomfort, and suddenly you're both trapped in a loop where the silence itself becomes the problem. She's testing your ability to carry presence, and you're failing without even saying a word. But here's the paradox. Silence isn't the enemy, it's how you hold it. When a confident man embraces silence, it feels magnetic. When an insecure man falls into silence, it feels suffocating. The difference is presence. So the next time you notice awkward silence creeping in, don't panic. Don't scramble. Instead, check your body language. Sit back. Breathe. Make eye contact. Let her see that you're comfortable in the moment. Because if you look relaxed, she'll feel relaxed. And let me ask you this, have you ever been in that situation where the silence felt like it was crushing you, and you could tell she was losing interest second by second? Drop your story in the comments, because chances are, another man reading will recognize himself in your experience. Now let's go one layer deeper. Because here's the point most men never understand. Women don't just experience the silence. They interpret it. And those interpretations can flip the entire dynamic of the relationship. When a woman feels that heavy, awkward silence, she doesn't see it as just a pause. She reads it as data. And her mind instantly starts running through possibilities. Possibility 1, disinterest. If you're sitting across from her and can't carry the moment, she wonders, is he even attracted to me? Is he bored? Did he already check out of this? That single thought plants doubt, and doubt is poison for attraction. Possibility 2, lack of leadership. Women crave emotional guidance, not in a controlling way, but in the sense of direction. When silence hangs like dead weight, it tells her, this man doesn't know how to lead the moment. And in her subconscious, that triggers fear. If he can't lead here, can he lead in bigger areas of life? Possibility 3, insecurity. If your silence feels anxious, she translates it as weakness. And here's the harsh truth, weakness kills desire. She doesn't want a man who folds under pressure. She wants one who can hold presence even when nothing is being said. Think about the difference. Imagine you're both sitting at dinner. In one version, you go quiet, avoid her eyes, and play with your glass. That silence feels like tension. In the other version, you lean back, breathe, and simply look at her with calm confidence. That silence feels magnetic. Same pause, completely different meaning. This is why awkward silence is so dangerous. It's not the pause itself, it's the meaning she assigns to it. And unless you understand how women decode that void, you'll never realize why attraction is slipping through your fingers. Stick with me, because in the next chapter I'll show you how to flip this dynamic. How to turn silence from something that destroys attraction into something that makes you unforgettable. Silence by itself isn't the enemy. The real danger lies in how you carry it. Because silence can either expose insecurity or radiate power. The difference isn't in the words you say, but in the energy you project when you say nothing at all. Think about men you've seen who command a room without speaking. They don't rush to fill every gap. They don't stumble over their words or apologize for pauses. Instead, their stillness draws people in. Silence becomes their stage, not their weakness. That's the secret you can learn to master. So how do you transform silence from awkward to magnetic? Let's break it down step by step. Step 1, eye contact. Most men look away the second silence hits, as if escaping the tension. But when you hold her gaze calmly, something powerful happens. You flip the script. Instead of looking like a boy caught off guard, you appear like a man who is completely comfortable in his own skin. She doesn't see hesitation, she sees confidence. Step 2, posture. Your body speaks louder than your words. If you slump, fidget, or fold into yourself, the silence feels heavy and insecure. But when you lean back, relax your shoulders, and occupy space with calm presence, you send the message, I'm not desperate. I'm grounded. I belong here. Women read that instantly. Step 3, breathing. Sounds simple, but most men forget it. Awkward silence often feels like panic because your body speeds up, your breath gets shallow, your pulse races. Slow it down. Inhale deeply, exhale smoothly. Controlled breathing makes the pause feel intentional. She won't read weakness, she'll feel your steadiness. Step 4, timing. Use silence as seasoning, not the whole meal. Drop it after a bold statement, after a joke, or after asking her a meaningful question. That pause gives weight to your words and forces her to lean in. Instead of rushing to fill the space, let her sit with it. That's when curiosity kicks in. Step 5. Subtle movement. You don't have to freeze like a statue. A calm sip of your drink, a slow nod, or a measured gesture with your hands keeps the silence alive but not empty. It's about balance, movement without nervousness. Here's the key: silence only feels awkward when you're uncomfortable with it. But when you own it, silence transforms into presence. You stop being the man fumbling for words and become the man who doesn't need them to hold attention. And here's something most men overlook: women tasked with silence. Sometimes, she'll go quiet just to see how you handle it. Do you break, panic, over-explain? Or do you smile, stay relaxed, and let her come to you? Passing this test tells her more about your strength than any line you could ever deliver. If this is hitting home, drop a comment right now. Have you ever experienced silence that made you feel small? Or silence that made you feel powerful? I want to hear your story. Let's bring this home. By now, you've seen the truth. Silence is never neutral. It either builds attraction or it destroys it. The difference is all in how you handle it. When silence turns heavy, when it feels like a void you're scrambling to fill, it communicates insecurity. She senses weakness, hesitation, even boredom. And once that impression lands, it's hard to erase. Attraction starts to slip, not because of what you said, but because of what you couldn't handle. But when silence is embraced with calm presence, everything shifts. It stops being awkward and becomes magnetic. A confident pause can make her lean closer, waiting for your next word. A steady gaze can make her heartbeat quicken even though nothing is being said. The man who owns silence doesn't need tricks or flashy lines. His composure speaks louder than words ever could. This is the paradox of silence. It is both the easiest tool to ignore and the most powerful one to master. Most men never even think about it. They obsess over the right pickup line, the perfect reply, or the next move to impress her. Meanwhile, the man who understands silence creates an entirely different experience. He shows leadership without speaking. He builds tension without effort. He creates comfort without over-explaining. Ask yourself this: how many times have you sabotaged yourself by rushing to fill the gap? How many moments could have been stronger if you had just breathed, held eye contact, and allowed her to feel your presence? That's the challenge and the opportunity you walk away with today. To stop fearing silence. To stop letting it control you. And instead, to use it as a weapon, as a signal of grounded masculinity. Because here's the bottom line: women aren't drawn to words. They're drawn to energy. And silence is the purest form of energy you can project. When handled with strength, it says everything you need to say. I'm calm. I'm confident. I'm not desperate for approval. I'm a man who knows his value. So, what's the next step for you? It's simple: practice. The next time you feel that urge to fill the space with nervous chatter, stop. Hold your ground. Breathe. Let her feel the pause. Watch how the energy changes. And now I want to hear from you. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button. It's the simplest way to let me know this message matters. Subscribe to the channel right now so you never miss the insights that can change how you understand attraction and relationships. And most importantly, drop a comment below. Have you ever been trapped in an awkward silence with a woman? Or have you ever turned silence into power? Share your experience. Your story might help another man break free from the same mistake. Remember, silence isn't the enemy. Weakness is. And when you master silence, you stop being the man who fumbles for words and become the man who doesn't need them to lead.